Winter mess heading our way. So we want to be here to give you a rundown of what's going to be happening and also answer some questions that you may have. So what I'll do is a quick presentation, let you know when the weather's coming, how much snow you can get in your neighborhood, when you're going to see those transitions, and then I'll take your questions on Facebook Live. I'll answer a few of them live, and if you type the question in, I can type in a response to make sure that you get the information that you need. I hope you're going to be able to enjoy today because it is the calm before the storm. All right, here's what we're looking at. Mainly rain along the eastern shore and into southern Maryland. And around Prince George's area, the eastern edge of D.C. headed down towards the La Plata area, you could pick up on a coating on the high side, 2 inches of snow, but not much snow the further east you go. Around the western edge of D.C. as you head toward Fairfax, Alexandria, up through parts of the Fredericksburg area, Manassas, you could pick up about 2 inches of snow on the high side. You get a heavier band, you may squeeze out 4 inches before you get that transition. Culpeper, Orange, up through Hagerstown, slightly higher amounts there. 4 inches on the low side. You get a band of the heavier snow to sit on top of you. You could see upwards of 8 inches. Here is where we're anticipating the bulk of the heaviest snow. It's going to be along 81 and west of that. That's going to be Romney, Cumberland, Petersburg, up through Harrisonburg, where you could get anywhere from 8 inches, even up to 12 inches of snow in those particular areas. Now let's look at Futurecast and talk to you about some trends and changes that I'm seeing happening today on the high resolution models versus what we were seeing earlier in the previous days. So here's Sunday at about 12:30 or so. This is going to start south of D.C. first. So around Orange, Fredericksburg, Tappahannock, you'll be the first to start picking up on your snow or your rain depending on where you live. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we start to see this snow make its way to the metro. Around Manassas, Alexandria, La Plata, even D.C. will pick up on a few flakes then. And then by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, most areas should either be getting your snow or your rain rain and snow mix for those areas that'll be right there on the rain-snow line. Moving the clock back to about 4:30 in the afternoon, you can see more rain over the eastern shore into southern Maryland. Still some snow going around D.C. We could see some waves of some moderate to heavy snow working its way into the region. And then you see that rain-snow line gradually beginning to kick in. So the key timing to pick up on the most snow around the area is going to be anywhere from, say, give or take 1 p.m. till about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Once we get to 6 p.m., we're going to see that rain-snow line start to advance further north and west. And so that's when you'll start to see the sleet mixing in. A few spots could pick up on some freezing rain. You could see some areas just change over to plain rain as the warmer air begins to win out on this particular system. This is at 7 o'clock in the evening. We're still dealing with some rain and some mixing and some snow further north and west. If you're around Cumberland, Hagerstown, and Martinsburg during this time, you're still going to be in all snow. The transition finally takes over after about 10 o'clock at night. This is 9:30. At this point, most areas are picking up on mostly rain. We can see that the winds have also picked up at around this time, so it's going to get windy out there. You can have those wind gusts 30 to 45 miles per hour, even stronger in a couple spots. And then you see that rain-snow line swinging all the way back toward Hagerstown, Martinsburg, and Winchester. Still all snow around Cumberland and Oakland around this time. Through the night, around midnight, still some rain around the metro, still some snow around Cumberland and Romney, but rain has even made its way up through Hagerstown and Martinsburg and Winchester, so we could see those snow totals get chopped down there as well. At about 2 o'clock in the morning or so, the immediate D.C. metro area may have a little bit of a lull in activity, and then Monday morning, 5 a.m., you wake up, you're looking at a few passing snow showers. These will be light, and this is on the back edge of the system as it pushes out of the area. So by Monday at 11 a.m., I anticipate most areas will start to dry out right around that hour. All right, let's talk about the wind, because this is not just a snow event. I know snow gets all the attention and all the headlines, but this is also a complex system. You're going to have wind, you're going to have sleet, you're going to have some areas, even some freezing rain before you see that transition over to rain. All right, this is Sunday at 5:15 in the evening. You can see winds are gusting up to about 27 miles per hour. You get to 8, 9 o'clock at night, those winds are going to pick up substantially. Now you're talking wind gusts of 40 miles per hour or stronger in some areas. And so that's where you're going to run into the potential for not only the heavy snow that you got or the rain that you got. Now you've got wind on top of that. That's when you get into toppled trees, power lines coming down, tree branches starting to come down, roads closed because either a tree fell on it, or depending on where you are, it's snow covered at that point. So multiple hazards to deal with this particular system. So with that in mind, the National Weather Service has actually expanded that winter storm watch. It covers Martinsburg up through Winchester, Leesburg, D.C., Gaithersburg, Manassas. Now, this is going to be for snow, wind, ice. You can get freezing rain, and sleet is going to be a factor for us as well. So all these hazards that we'll be dealing with. Let's refresh your timeline. Make sure you got everything, squared away. All right. So if you're looking for some dry hours on Sunday, when can you run those last-minute errands? Try to get it done in the morning if you do have to go out. 5 a.m. to about 11 a.m. are dry hours. I would say in D.C. you got maybe up until about noon before things begin to kick off. Around 1 o'clock, you're going to start seeing some rain, some sleet, some snow, and definitely by 3 p.m., most areas will start to get that snow or that rain, depending on where you live. Again, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, you're going to start to see the mixing come in. That's when you start to see that transition over to sleet, perhaps some freezing rain in a couple spots, and then a change over to rain. After about 10 a.m., we'll see the change over to rain. But keep in mind, that night you're going to have rain, you're going to have melting snow. So even if the snow threat has ended, it's still going to be a bit hazardous out there for everyone as well. If today is the calm day, if you can get out and enjoy it, you've got temperatures, they're going to be quite cold out there, but at least you won't have any precipitation to deal with. High is going to be right there in the upper 20s to right around 30. It is going to feel like we're in the teens and low 20s throughout the day. So with that in mind, I am just going to track back here, go back to our snow map and go back to our Futurecast, and then I'll start taking some of your questions here on Facebook Live. And also, as I mentioned, I'll take a couple of them live, but I'll also go back and type in. If you type in your question, I will type in and respond. What I find that is sometimes on here, I'm looking at a little bitty phone, some of your comments get overlooked while I'm on the live. So if I could type in the response, that way I'd make sure that I can get back to you. But I know a lot of the primary questions are, what time is this going to start? How much am I getting in my neighborhood? You're trying to plan around it. I get it. And that's why we are here. So basically, in the afternoon, in the afternoon hours is when we're going to see the bulk of the shower activity, the snow activity, I should say, work its way into the region. All right, trying to get over to our station live here, and I will be on there to answer you guys' questions. But so far, so good. Here, let me just get a couple of them in while I can. All right, there we go. All right, so Catherine A. Jenkins, what snow totals for Northern Virginia? Okay, let's go back over those totals. I understand you guys have a lot of questions about those. Let's go back over that, and I'll break this down for you. All right, so along the eastern shore, I got a couple questions about that, so I'll just go back over this. Eastern shore, southern Maryland, you're mainly rain. As you get to the eastern edge of D.C., Prince George's County, up through La Plata, just east of 95, around the Fredericksburg area and Annapolis, that's where you're looking at a coating, maybe up to 2 inches before that transition takes over. The western edge of D.C., Montgomery County, up through Leesburg, Fairfax, Vienna, Tysons, Alexandria, Woodbridge even, you'd be looking at somewhere toward 2 inches on the low side, 4 inches on the high side. So we got that 2 to 4 because you might get under a heavier band, and that's where you could quickly pick up that 4 inches before you start to see the transition. The further west you go, the better chance you have on picking up on those higher snow amounts. So if you're going to be around Culpeper, Orange, up through Martinsburg, Hagerstown, that's you can easily pick up your 4 inches. A heavier band could pump out 8 inches for you in those areas. And then as you get further north and west, bullseye is going to be around Romney, Cumberland, Oakland, Petersburg, all these areas in purple, 8 to 12 possible in these particular areas, give or take. You get some of those heavier bands to work their way in. Again, one of the trends that I've seen is, that snow line pushing a little bit further back. Anybody else? Okay, you guys are just making comments like stay off on I-95. Will Hagerstown be windy, Peggy? Yes. We'll be looking at those winds picking up area-wide. Peggy, let's go ahead and show you those winds once again. She wants to know if it's going to get windy in Hagerstown. So here's Sunday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's already going to be a breezy day for us. Winds really pick up later on Sunday evening and Sunday night. This is at about 5 o'clock. Winds start gusting to 20 to 30 miles per hour. And then this is Sunday at 8:15 in the evening. You've got winds gusting 30 to 40, 45 miles per hour. So there's your Hagerstown wind gust right there, 8 o'clock. you see a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust, but we could see winds gusting up to 40, 45 miles per hour from D.C. over to the eastern shore and even stronger along Ocean City. This is at 11:30 at night. We could see winds at this point gusting up to 43 miles per hour in Hagerstown. You could have a 47-mile-per-hour wind gust in D.C. Ocean City could get a wind gust up to about 58 miles per hour. Wouldn't even rule out a 60, 58, 55, 60 mile per hour wind gusts in some areas, especially the further east you are. You're going to get those winds, which are common with the nor'easters. That's what they do. They churn out those northeasterly winds, and they can get quite strong at times. Okay, how much wind? Debbie McConnell also concerned about those winds. So on average, Sunday evening, you're looking at winds gusting 30 to 45 miles per hour. And then occasionally you're going to get those winds gusting up to, at times, up to about 50 miles per hour in a couple areas. I just wanted to show you once again, I think I do have a little graphic here that I want to show you about the hazards that we're facing. So again, on the winter weather side, snow, sleet, ice, rain, possible late Sunday into early Monday. I would say 2 p.m. until about 10 a.m. Monday. 2 p.m. Sunday till about 10 a.m. Monday is when we're looking at the most active weather. If your area is looking to get some snow, those roads could quickly become snow covered in some areas. And then the wind, 30 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts starting at about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. By the time you get to 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, you can see those winds gusting at more than 45 miles per hour in some areas. Some areas could get wind gusts at more than 50 miles per hour. So that's going to give you the potential, if the snow didn't do it, you got the wind compiled with it. You can get down trees, power outages, or just objects being blown around. These nor'easters, they don't play nice. They're nasty storms. That's what we're looking at there. All right. How much snow will D.C. get, Kathy? Kathy, you could see, let me get back to those totals for you guys. I know a lot of you still have questions about that. D.C., depending on where you are, could get anywhere from up to 2 to 4 inches of snow there in D.C. So the trend is to bring less snow to D.C. actually. So I think 2 to 4 is a fair range. I would say on the low end, 2 inches. If you get a heavier band, you might be lucky enough to get the 4, but I'm thinking we'd be on the lower side of that 2 to 4 for the D.C. area. Do pardon me, my voice is cracking just a little bit. Still trying to get my voice back, But guys, just hang in there with me. Bear with me, I should say. Middleburg, Virginia. This map doesn't show every single town out here, but in general, we have the entire region mapped out across the area. So we could try to get that on here, but overall we just pick some spots around the region and just try to give you guys a general idea of where you're going to see the snow happening. This is not the Euro model, Rochelle. We're now, when we get closer into storms, we still look at the GFS and the European model. We also like to look at those high resolution models because they're kind of good at fine tuning the smaller details the closer you get to a system. That's where those models really shine. So we looked at the high resolution model today because those are a little bit better the closer you get to it. Springfield, Virginia, Linda is asking about. So in the Springfield area, you're likely looking at the 2 to 4 inch range right here in this darker blue line that you see right here. So what I'm going to do, guys, is go ahead and because I feel like there's still some comments that I am starting to. So Nanjemoy, I get a question about Nanjemoy. I don't think you're going to see much snow in Nanjemoy at all. I think you'd probably end up with maybe coating to 2 inches or so if you get one of those bursts, but then you're going to see that transition happening a little bit sooner further south of D.C., so especially south and east of the area. So you probably won't get as much snow. You'll see that transition over to sleet and rain a little bit sooner than everyone else. So what I'm going to do now, when is it going to start Sunday? When is the storm going to start Sunday? I have to pick up my daughter at 2 o'clock, Debbie McConnell. So by 2 o'clock, we would anticipate, let's go back over Futurecast to better answer Debbie's question. So this is Sunday. Let me show you this is 2 o'clock right here, Debbie. I'm not sure which area you're going to be in, but that's the time when we're anticipating active weather. It's going to start from the south and then work its way further up north. Excuse me, guys. All right, so if you're around Manassas, La Plata, Andrews, maybe even up toward Alexandria and D.C., Fredericksburg, you're going to be some of the first spots to pick up on that snow. And then this is what it's going to be looking like at 3:30 in the afternoon, Debbie. You'll be looking at snow across most of the area. So if it's somewhere close and you really have to be out to grab her, this is the early part of the storm. You know, if you got to grab her at that time, go ahead and get her and bring her back in. But you guys should aim to try to get off of those roads as soon as possible while the snow is coming down, and definitely before that transition occurs. Debbie, I hope that was helpful for you. Sure. The Harrisonburg, Virginia area, you'd be looking at the snow starting around, I'd say more the earlier side for you, somewhere between 11 and 12 o'clock is when you start to see the snow around the Harrisonburg area. That's one of the spots where you'll see it first. I had a question about Harrisonburg. So there, this is at 12:30 p.m. You've already got some light snow trying to make its way towards your area. In terms of the amounts, we do have you within the 8 to 12, but I will say that we're going to be analyzing the models once again this afternoon, and you might start to see that rain snow line creep up on you a little bit earlier. So more the 8 side for you in the Harrisonburg area. You're still going to get a decent amount of snow because you're going to get the snow first, and you'll have it for a longer duration. But that rain snow line, the latest models does bring it back a little bit further across the area. All right, Morgantown, West Virginia, you'd be in one of the areas of the higher range. You're under the winter storm warning like the rest of us. You'd be in the 8 to 12 category for snow in that particular area. All right, guys, do pardon me. I am starting to kind of lose my voice a little bit, so to preserve it, but still answer your questions, I'm just going to get on here and just start typing the replies. So continue to ask your questions, fire away, go ahead and type them in, and I am going to go ahead and just type the reply back to you. That way I don't miss anything because it's on Facebook and this is just kind of scrolling in. When a new question comes, they all get bumped up. So I don't want to miss anybody. I want to make sure I get everyone's question answered. So type it in and I'll go on there. Mary Marshall, weather anchor. You'll see a reply from me coming up pretty shortly, okay? Hope I've been able to answer all you guys' questions and get you the information that you need. And if I haven't answered it live here, I'll definitely answer it by typing it. Thank you so much for joining us on this Facebook Live. Have a great day and stay safe, everyone.